All right, deep divers ready to get our heads in the clouds. We're talking E-7 AEW&C today. And wow, you guys sent in a ton of material on this thing.
Yeah, it seems like you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of why this aircraft is such a big deal in modern military strategy.
You got it. We're talking force multiplier, backbone of tactical battle management. Are those just fancy buzzwords?
Well, I'll tell you, the E-7 doesn't just back up those claims, it practically reinvents them. Let's just start with the radar, the MESA. This isn't your grandpa's radar screen with a couple blips on it. We're talking, imagine spotting a missile launch from hundreds of miles out. Hundreds. Enough time to scramble jets, maybe even neutralize the threat before they know it hit them. That's the kind of advantage we're talking about.
Okay, so we're talking serious reaction time. But how does it actually relay all that info that fast?
Yeah.
We're talking ships, ground troops, other aircraft, all at once, right?
Right, and that's where things get really wild. See, the E-7, it's not just a radar platform, it's like the central nervous system of the whole battlefield. A node in this huge, resilient network.
So it can link up units that would basically be blind without it.
Yeah.
Like, you can have the stealthiest fighter jets in the world, but they're even deadlier when this thing is feeding them intel from halfway across the map.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this whole beyond line of sight thing a force multiplier. It takes everything else and makes it hit harder, faster, smarter.
So it's like the E-7 can see the entire chessboard, even the pieces that are hidden, and then tell everyone on its side the perfect move to make.
That's a great way to put it. And that kind of coordination is crucial in modern warfare, where threats can pop up anywhere, anytime, from any direction, even in cyberspace, really.
Which is where I think that JADC2 proven thing from the material comes in, doesn't it?
Bingo. JADC2, that's Joint All-Domain Command and Control. It's basically the Pentagon's dream scenario where every branch of the military is sharing intel seamlessly. And the E-7, with its network and its open architecture, it's about as close as we've gotten to that dream.
When you say open architecture, what does that actually mean in plain English?
Think of it like your smartphone. You wouldn't want to buy a brand new phone every time there's a software update, would you? Exactly. And it's the same idea here. You can constantly upgrade the E-7 with new software, new hardware, keep it ahead of the curve, because the world, especially the world of warfare, it waits for no one.
So this thing is like the ultimate battlefield upgrade, always getting even better. But there's got to be some downsides, right? I mean, no system is foolproof.
You're absolutely right. Every system has its limitations. And with the E-7, some of those are tied to its biggest strength, ironically enough, that network. Because if you're in a real tough fight, you know the enemy's going to try to jam those signals, try to blind those units that are relying on it.
Cut the nerves, like we were talking about with the nervous system. All of a sudden, that awesome awareness can get shaky pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a constant back and forth. And then there's the whole open architecture thing. Sounds great on paper, right? Constant upgrades. But in the real world, integrating new systems from different companies, well, it can get messy. You got to make sure everything plays nice with each other, and that takes a ton of testing.
Because the last thing you want in the middle of a firefight is for your systems to go down. Because some new software doesn't like talking to the old hardware.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget the elephant in the room, cost. These high-tech systems, they don't come cheap. Not to build, not to buy, not to maintain.
Which makes you wonder, is it worth it? Some people might say it's smarter to just buy more, simpler platforms instead of putting all your eggs in one really expensive basket.
It's a debate, that's for sure, and there's no easy answer. The folks who love the E-7 will tell you it makes everything else around it better. So yeah, it's pricey, but in a serious situation, that edge could be worth every penny.
On the other hand, what if something comes along that makes the E-7 obsolete? Some crazy new tech or whole different kind of threat that it's just not ready for.
Those are valid points, no doubt. It's all about balance, right? Maybe you don't put all your chips on one platform, no matter how impressive it is. Maybe a mix of high-end and more affordable systems makes more sense in the long run.
Yeah, trying to stay one step ahead. It's a tough game. Speaking of which, we haven't even touched on the whole global fleet angle. The materials you sent made it clear that this isn't just about one country's defense. You're right, we've been so focused on the whole battlefield thing, but this E-7, it's almost like diplomatic in a way.
It really is, yeah. When you've got multiple countries all working with the same picture, thanks to this E-7 data sharing, that builds trust. Means you can react to a crisis way faster, way more efficiently. Like, imagine a big humanitarian mission, multiple countries involved. The E-7 could be the thing that makes it all actually work.
That's wild. You don't think about it at first, but a single aircraft can have that big of an impact. Makes you wonder what else it could do. The materials mention civilian applications too.
Oh, tons. Think about air traffic control. Keeping planes from bumping into each other, that takes real-time awareness, knowing where everything is all the time. Or even like environmental stuff, tracking weather. Or how about even keeping tabs on wildlife migrations?
Like the coolest tech starts out in the military, but then it ends up benefiting everybody.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about digging into stuff like this. The E-7, yeah, it's a weapon system, sure, but it's also a window into the future. Who knows what we'll be using this kind of tech for in 10, 20 years.
All right, so to wrap it up for everyone listening, the E-7 AEW&C. It isn't just some fancy plane with a radar. It's changing how wars are fought, how countries work together. It's even giving us a peek at a whole different kind of future.
And what a future, right? Makes you wonder what other crazy applications are just waiting around the corner for tech like this. What's it going to look like as it keeps getting more advanced?
Good stuff to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us into the world of the E-7 AEW&C. Until next time, folks, keep those brains engaged and don't be afraid to ask the big questions.